There's a certain kind of magic that happens when legacy meets youth, when the daughters of Black excellence begin stepping out of the shadows and into their own spotlight. These aren't just famous kids. They're young women navigating identity, fame, and the burden of greatness with surprising grace and bold ambition. Each one is living proof that legacy isn't about imitation, it's about transformation. Let's start with Blue Ivy Carter, who didn't so much arrive in the world as she did debut. Born to Beyoncé and Jay-Z, the closest thing to music royalty in America, Blue's birth literally shifted pop culture. She was the youngest person ever featured on a Billboard chart, days old, and the youngest Grammy winner in history. But Blue is more than a trivia fact. Watch her in behind-the-scenes clips and you'll see it. The confidence, the calm, the awareness of someone who knows she's being watched and still chooses to shine. She's already narrated the audiobook for Hair Love, posed in Ivy Park like a seasoned pro, and has stage presence that would make grown artists nervous. Beyoncé once said, "She's a cultural icon." And she's right, but not all daughters come wrapped in glamour. Some come wrapped in truth. Enter Zaya Wade. At just 12 years old, Zaya came out as transgender. While many kids are trying to survive middle school, Zaya was educating millions. With unwavering support from her father, Dwayne Wade, and stepmother, Gabrielle Union, Zaya became a beacon for LGBTQ+ youth, especially young Black trans kids who rarely see themselves in the media. She rocks bold colors, natural curls, and confidence like armor. In interviews, she speaks with a poise far beyond her years. "Be true, and don't be afraid to be yourself," she once said. And she lives it. Then there's Natalia Bryant, a young woman who didn't ask for the weight she now carries. After losing her father, Kobe Bryant, and sister Gianna in 2020, the world expected her to crumble. But Natalia chose creation over collapse. She signed with IMG Models, enrolled in USC, and has spoken openly about grief, beauty, and being more than Kobe's daughter. In her own words, she wants to tell stories, on runways, in films, and maybe one day behind the camera. "He was the MVP of Girl Dads," she said of her father, and it's clear she carries that legacy forward with quiet power. Meanwhile, Willow Smith has been rewriting what it means to be a pop star since she was 10. After the success of Whip My Hair, Willow famously shaved her head mid-tour, on stage, because she wanted out of the spotlight. Years later, she returned on her own terms, blending alt-rock, soul, and introspective lyrics into a genre-defying sound. Willow isn't just the daughter of Will and Jada. She's a Gen Z philosopher, a musical shapeshifter, and a living challenge to anyone who thinks fame can define you. She once said, "I'm going to take my pain and make it into art." And she has. Not every daughter of fame wants to rebel, though. Reginae Carter, daughter of Lil Wayne and Toya Johnson, embraces her celebrity roots with open arms. She's starred in reality shows, launched fashion lines, and commands a massive social media following. Reginae is bold, unfiltered, and bougie in the best way. One minute she's clapping back at trolls. The next, she's hosting a women's empowerment brunch. She knows how to turn a headline into a business move, and she's not afraid to say, "Yes, I'm Lil Wayne's daughter, and now let me show you what I can do." Across the globe, there's Zahara Jolie-Pitt, one of the most quietly fascinating daughters of celebrity. Adopted from Ethiopia by Angelina Jolie, Zahara has grown up with a deep awareness of her roots. At Spelman College, she's surrounded by Black excellence, and she's used her platform to uplift African voices in art. A few years ago, she made headlines simply by wearing her mom's old Oscar dress. But fashionistas noted how she transformed it with her own energy. She's elegance with purpose, heritage with a heartbeat. Then there's Kaavia James Union Wade, aka Shady Baby, the youngest on this list but possibly the most meme-worthy. At just 5 years old, Kaavia is already a social media icon, thanks to her hilarious expressions and deeply unimpressed facial reactions. Her Instagram, managed by Gabrielle Union, is a masterclass in toddler sarcasm. But don't let the giggles fool you. Kaavia represents the new generation of celebrity kids raised to be free, expressive, and deeply loved. She's the comic relief and the scene stealer, and she knows it. Let's not forget Yara Shahidi, daughter of photographer Afshin Shahidi, and cousin to rapper Nas. Though not the child of entertainers in the traditional sense, Yara has grown into a cultural force. Model, actress, Harvard grad, activist. She uses her platform to discuss education, race, feminism, and voting rights. If legacy is about impact, Yara's already built one. When Michelle Obama writes your college recommendation letter,